So as I'm holding my infant and I'm holding my 2-year-old, she was standing, I tell myself, it won't be so bad if you kill them and kill yourself. So many people have shame. Who wants to kill their child? Are you even normal? No, you're not normal. You're not mentally okay at that point. You feel shame because society might make you feel
like you're a murderer.
Yeah, but the thoughts are not who you are. You're worthless. You and a pig, you're the same thing. You're trash. So going through that and realizing, Wangeshi, you have low self-esteem. Me, who is called Shishi Fabulous. Me, I believe I'm ugly. I could not go online, Lynn. I could not go online without makeup or filters. I never used to show my face. You're ugly. You don't deserve for anybody to see you.
Knowing that you've been in it, how do I know this is postpartum depression?
Having bad thoughts. Like bad thoughts, even 1 week postpartum is not okay.
Yes.
Like the thoughts of it's not so bad, that can never be okay. Even if you're 3 days postpartum, that is not okay. Nobody should tell you to wait.
A very good morning to you and welcome to yet another beautiful episode of LNS. My name is Lynn Ngugi. Now, my guest today is known for a lot. She has a very positive online presence, matters motherhood and nutrition, but she also has quite a story from battling postpartum depression, doing away with a job in an organization that no one would ever think of quitting, to spending life thinking that her ears are full of nothing. She is nothing, and we are about to find out how did she get back to become the person that she is today. And I hope today our conversation honestly inspires you. But before, guys, I can let her introduce herself. You all know I'm loving our partners, Kings Developers, and I said matters real estate, you have to be really careful with who you are investing with. And I love that they are ISO certified, which means we are not dealing with vitu mmekoniwa, mmefanyiwa nini, and they have very affordable housing. You've all checked out Boma in Ruiru, and I always say sometimes kama unataka ya Boma, very affordable. If you are looking for something yenye iko a bit up and you can check out Apollo and Vintage, and their prices are very friendly. This is not even like an ad. It's because I do not want you guys to continue being conned matters real estate. So check out Kings Developers. You know them for Prism Towers and Sifa Towers, but it's also good to know that they have affordable housing for each and every one of us. Their contact are right here on the comment section. And of course, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. 700k subscribers, here we come. I cannot be more grateful, guys. I appreciate you, and I want you to know that we have done this together and we will continue doing this together. And now, without further ado, please allow me to let my beautiful guest introduce herself. See, mimi nimekuwa late ni wewe. So, good morning.
Good morning, Lynn. Thank you so much for having me.
Finally.
I really appreciate it. Yes, finally. It's been a long time of us having the conversation of me coming on.
Yeah. Nice to finally have this conversation.
Yes.
I'm so excited because I feel like I'm talking to my friend.
Me too.
You know, we've met hapo Beleni. You are such an incredible person.
Thank you.
Yeah, but before I can even go any further with the conversation, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Wangeshi Kihara. I'm popularly known as Mama Muthoni. I'm a mom of 2, 6-year-old and 4-year-old. I'm thinking because they just turned the other day. A certified lactation consultant, a certified child nutrition practitioner, and a businesswoman. The businesses I run is one called Mama Muthoni Foods, where I do unga ya uji for babies, nut butters, peanut butter, almond butter, cashew nut butter, and the most amazing sweet chili sauce you'll ever have in your life.
Yes.
Then I run the Mothership Village, which is an organization that supports moms from the time they're pregnant all the way to the time their babies are about 5 to 8. So we do childbirth education, we do prenatal yoga, we do lactation, nutrition. If you're having issues with speech with your baby, if you're having issues that you need an occupational therapist, etc. Basically, we are your village. The village that everyone says a mother needs a village.
Yes.
The Mothership Village is your village.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much for creating that space.
Thank you.
You know, I was doing a bit of background check and I was just going through your content. Umetoka mbali
Sana.
And every one of
Sana.
us has a journey. And I know also conversations like, I won't say who recommended you, but she's a lady I admire so much. And she was just there on my DM, and she's very influential. And she was like, Lynn, please, tulete Mama Muthoni. And it's been months of planning. And I'm happy that we are here.
Yes.
Because first things first, matters postpartum depression are not things I take lightly. I've sat across guests who have told me that they've gone through the worst, you know, but also to be able to sit with you so that you can walk, because there's going through it and then there's coming out of it.
Yeah.
I'm really interested, you know, in how you came out of it. But apart from that, your career journey is something else. You've been in different businesses.
Yes.
You've like tried everything.
Everything.
And looking at you right now, you know, this confident, beautiful makeup, kila kitu. Someone wouldn't think that you've been through that. Sindio? So me, I wanna chill and just listen to your story, because I want you to take ownership of your story. So maybe if you can take us back to where you are comfortable and tell us, who is Mama Muthoni and how did we get here, fighting battles and coming out of these battles? Yeah.
Okay. Wow, where do I go back? Maybe I could start with high school.
Yes.
Because in high school, I always knew, you know, the way you have a vision of your life. So the vision of my life was I would be in food. So by 35, I was supposed to have opened a restaurant, or quit my UN job, because I used to think I'd go to the UN.
Yes.
So quit my UN job by 35, get into the restaurant business, and then start an NGO supporting moms and babies. That was high school. Then I went to university. I studied in Australia. I came back in 2010. And when I came back, my dream was to get a job in the UN in the refugee camp, earning 100,000. I was very specific in my prayer to God. And so I came back, and everybody had to tell, I want to earn 100,000. That was in 2010.
Yes.
In 2010, everybody had to tell, I'm straight out of campus, I want to earn 100K. They'd be like, that's not possible.
Yes.
But then I kept telling me, I pray to God, and that is what I want. And in the end, I got my first job with the UN this September. So I graduated, came back around March, April, September, I got my first job, and I earned 101,000.
Even one on top.
Right? And I kept telling God, yani hata ungeniongezea 10K.
Yes.
Uliniongezea tu 1,000. One.
But who just comes out of, you know, school and
And
gets
earns
a
100.
job?
But I didn't know. Now I know. Now that it's what? 10 years later, 12 years later, I look back and I actually see that it was a ridiculously big dream that I wanted.
Yes.
But I didn't know. For me, it looked normal
Yeah.
that I wanted to earn 100,000
Okay.
at that point. And I thought everybody who told me that it is almost impossible to get that was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I was the one who was crazy, that my dreams were too big.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got the job at the UN, 101,000. It was a 3-month contract. Then in January, I got a permanent. It was September. January, I got a permanent contract. So I did that for about 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. And then I felt quite unfulfilled. I was also young. I was 27 or 28. I felt, I'm doing the same thing every day. Like there's no challenge. My mind is not being challenged. I don't feel like my mind is growing. Every single day I'm asking the refugees the same questions. Every single day I'm preparing the same documents. Like I didn't feel like my mind was going to grow. So I decided to take unpaid leave. I took unpaid leave for 6 months. Came home, thought about the things that I should be doing. That was around April. By November, I decided, okay, fine, let me go back and look for capital. So I called the office. When I called the office, I told them, hi, I'm coming back next week. My leave is over. Please ensure that my house, because they used to give us accommodation. So please ensure that my house is ready. But immediately I hung up from that call. I was like, no, I'm not going back. So immediately I just wrote my resignation letter and I never went back.
You are writing your resignation letter going where?
See, back to the UN at Kakuma refugee camp.
No, but do you have
I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan. So that was 2013 or 12. 13, it was 2013. I stayed home. There are a few things that I had wanted to do. Majority of them didn't work out. I wanted to start an NGO for differently abled Kenyans, because when I worked in Australia, I used to work for an organization that used to offer accommodation and housing, and I thought that was such an amazing idea that we could actually do back home. That didn't work out. Then I started selling viombos, and I used to do that from the time actually I was in the UN in 2012. I started that in 2012. So I pursued that in 2013. Then 2014, I had a very traumatic thing that happened in my life, and it changed the course of my life, like completely. It completely shattered me. It completely broke me. It shook the core of who I was. And that's the first time I think I was struggling with depression, but I think I didn't really recognize, or I recognized, but I ignored. Because after it happened, there's a time when I used to drive and I want to drive my car into a wall. And I didn't want to die, but at that time I remember what I wanted was for my body to hurt, so that my heart, kizungu ya Wakenya, so that my heart doesn't hurt. Sijui ni gani, H-E-A-R-T, yeah. So I wanted to physically hurt so that my heart stops feeling like I'm hurting so much. And when I realized that, I stopped driving. And I stopped going to work because I was, I feel like I'm going to cry. I was scared of what I was capable of doing at that point. And then now I was in the house and I realized I wanted to cut myself. Because again, I want to physically hurt so that whatever I'm feeling in my heart doesn't hurt as bad. Because now my mind is dealing with the physical symptoms. So again, I removed all my knives from my house. I had a very supportive boyfriend at that time who's now my husband. So I stopped driving. He'd come visit me, or sometimes he'd tell me, I can't leave you here, let's go to my house. I removed all the knives from my house where I used to live. At that time, I lived in Nyayo Estate. So he'd ensure I have food on days when he wasn't coming because it was a bit far from him. At that point, he worked in Karen. Then now, you know, the way you just Google symptoms, Google tells you those are symptoms of depression. I don't even remember how exactly I got better at that point, but I ended up doing a course, program called Mizizi with...
The Mizizi for Akina, ni Big Ted?
Yeah, actually I was in the Big Ted group in town at Pan-Africa. And that really gave me a new hope and a new lease of life. So before that, I don't remember how I survived. Because that was surviving. Like I survived and then I got into Mizizi, and Mizizi I got God, and God. Like I felt so much better. I got a new lease of life.
What was Mizizi about?
Building, it's basically that. Mizizi is roots. You're building your roots in God. And finding yourself in God. If I remember very well. I'm not even sure I remember that part of my life. Anyway, so I got better. I started doing events. I used to have an event called, at that time it was called Chill and Grill.
Oh, Chill and Grill.
Yeah, it was called Chill and Grill. Yeah, that was a Chill and Grill at that point. Then I got a corporate partner through a friend. And I think because at that time my self-esteem was so low, but I didn't know. Because like you said, you look at me, I look confident. And me, I've always known that I'm a confident person. Like all my life, that's what, you know, the story you tell yourself about yourself. I'm a confident person. So at that point, I didn't know I had low self-esteem because of the things that had happened in my life previously. So this friend of mine really made me not believe in myself. So by the time I was getting this corporate, my event used to have like 700.
This is a friend who makes you not believe in yourself?
Yes, but you see, I didn't know. I didn't know it was a friend. At that point, I believed he was my friend. So the corporate came in as a big sponsor. So by the time I was going to them, I had 700, 800 people attending the Chill and Grill event. And I did it with them for about a year and a half, 3 events. From the 800 people, the last event I had 40 people. And they had spent like almost 2 million. They had spent 2 million in the event. And my first events, I had 0 budget. But I was able to get the 800 people. But they kept changing things, and they kept telling me that we are the ones who know events, you don't know events. Yeah, we are the ones who know what is right, you don't know what is right.
You have the vision.
Yes, but
and
I don't know.
Someone tells you, you don't know what you're doing. And they come and start showing you how to do it.
Exactly.
And your event goes down.
Yes.
Talk about people messing with your vision.
But you see, because it's their fault, but it's my fault.
Yeah.
Because I allowed it. But I didn't know that I was allowing something to happen that was not supposed to be happening. Because Wangeshi is a confident girl. There's no way somebody can tell me that I'm not good enough, and I believe how. So I didn't know until years later that I looked back and I thought that was actually low self-esteem, because how is somebody coming to tell you that I know better than you about your event and you accept? Because even if they were bringing money, my event was successful without you, and it will be successful even when you leave. Anyway, so now Chill and Grill didn't work out, closed shop. I think I took a while. That was 2013 into 2014 into 2015. 2015, I started selling The sweet chili sauce that I'm telling you is amazing. It's amazing. You can find it on Mama Muthoni Foods on Instagram.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I started that in 2015, and then I rebranded the event to Kula Kula Festival. So Kula Kula Festival, again, I didn't have a big brand, but it worked.
Yes.
From the 30-40 people who paid for this event that had a 2 million budget to about, the first one I think had 300, and then we went growing. 2015, 2016, 2017, I had my baby, so I never did it.
Yes.
And 2015 now is when I started my sweet chili sauce and nut butter business. And it grew very fast, like very rapid. And within about 6 months, my kitchen in Nyayo Estate was too small.
Yeah.
In 2016 now. So I moved the kitchen to my mom's house because she has a compound, and that's why I decided to start doing it there. We got cabs, and I was selling, but it was really overwhelming because I couldn't meet the demand that was there. When now we moved in, my kitchen moved, then I got a baby. Then now I used to tell myself, oh, I'm still in early postpartum, I'll go back. Oh, there's so much I've not said. So 2014, I also started a business for giving out house girls, a bureau. I closed it within a month. Why? The business was too much. Like I got too many calls, there was too much demand. It was too much. So at that point, I told myself that I am not getting enough house ladies to work.
Yes.
That's why I closed. That's what I told myself. And then I started selling clothes, plus size clothes for ladies. The business was called Beautifully Plus.
Okay.
And again, too much business. So I told myself, I'm having a hard time getting these clothes. So I closed. Then, what else did I start? I did many things.
Hey.
And all these ones I'm closing because the business is too much.
Well, people close business
Because there's
no business.
Yeah, there's not enough
You are closing
business.
because
Yes,
it's too much.
It's too much. But every time the excuse I would tell myself would make sense to me. You know, the way you're living your life, but you don't have an aerial view of it. So you're not seeing and you're not realizing what is happening. And all this time, I'm barely earning. I'm not doing anything with my life. Like I can't account and say, I have done A, B, C, D, I've done this, I have earned this much. And I'm not seeing it. And I'm just moving. So life is just continuing. So that's 2017. 2018, I got pregnant with my baby. I had very painful pelvic girdle, like the pain you have in the pelvic area.
Yeah.
I was basically on bed rest the whole of my pregnancy because if I walked, let's say from here to the gate, I'd be seated for, like, I couldn't move for maybe another 2 days because of pain.
Yeah.
So now again, that was the excuse for that time. I'm pregnant. Yet, all I had to do was get online with my phone and post that I'm selling viombos and I'm selling sweet chili.
And get a delivery
Yeah, get a delivery person to come. Ramisi nimeketi kwa couch, my pelvic is up, I'm rested. But I can't do it because, naumwa.
Excuse again.
And at that point, it's making sense in my mind. In my mind, everything is going okay. So 2019, I gave birth
To
my second child. So 2018 now is when I had a very hard pregnancy. Towards the end of the pregnancy, my pregnancy was very painful. And then I had like really, I'd get what are they called? Yeast. Is it yeast that people get when they're pregnant? Yes, yeast infections. So I got 1 or 2, and with the second one, I was so angry. Like I was so angry with this pregnancy that, in fact, at that time I was seeing a therapist. And she told me, you need to be careful. It looks like you're getting into depression, because I was so angry. Why am I getting a yeast infection? And it was not pleasant. It's not a pleasant feeling. Anyway, so I gave birth 2019. Then we came back home. So I don't remember at what point exactly, but it was small things. Like I'm washing the baby. I tell myself, it's not so bad if you drown him.
What?
Yeah. I just tell myself that it won't be so bad. Would it be so bad? It wouldn't be so bad. I go, I sit on the couch. In fact, I remember that day I wrote to my therapist. I told her, I think I was seated, I had a recliner seat. So I was seated, I was holding him like this. And then I told myself, it won't be so bad if you put his nose and suffocate him. It won't be so bad. Like, is it so bad? It's not so bad. That's what I'd tell myself. Then another time, I was on the bed, on the side of the bed. And then I tell myself, it would be so bad if you throw him on the wall. And Makiu, my baby, was a calm child. So it's not that those things that you'd say, ati mtoto amelia sana, it's gotten to your mind. He never used to cry. Okay, not never used to cry, babies cry, but it was nothing. Akiamka atalia, umchukue anyamaze. Bas, nothing else. Sama labda akioga venye saa zingine watoto wanalianga wakioga. Bas. As in, it was not at the babies who cry at mtoto ako na colic, at your child is crying for 30 minutes. No. Anyway, so one day we've done shower time. I used to do shower time for both of them. I've dressed them, and then it was time to pray. So as I'm holding my infant and I'm holding my 2-year-old, she was standing, I tell myself, it won't be so bad if you kill them and kill yourself. Will it be so bad? And at that point, I told myself, Wangeshi, you need help. Because a few days earlier, actually, I'd asked my therapist, are these thoughts normal? Like, it doesn't feel like it's normal. Like, these random thoughts that are just coming to my mind, it can't be normal. So I texted her, and then she told me, you need to see your gyna. I think that was a few weeks to 6 weeks. I don't remember very well the timeline. But the holding of the two and telling myself to kill them and kill myself was like a turning point for me. 6 weeks, I went, I saw my doctor, Dr. Wanyonyi, and I told him my symptoms. And he was so shocked. Like, I remember the look in his eyes. He was quite shocked. I think because we had had such an amazing experience with him during my pregnancy. And then I had a vaginal birth after C-section, and he was very supportive with that. Like, mentally, I think he felt I was very strong.
You are okay.
Because Avibak is also very mental. So he really tried to hide his emotion. Or maybe it was in my mind that I saw emotion. Anyway, so I told him, this is what I'm feeling, and this is what I'm thinking. And then he was like, okay, you need to see a psychiatrist. So I told him, I don't want you to take me to somebody who's going to give me medication. So he told me he won't give you medication, he'll do psychotherapy. So I told him, fine. It was a trick. So he wrote for me a prescription. What they call, like a referral.
Yes.
I went, I saw another doctor, a psychiatrist. So I went, I told him my symptoms. He asked me about my first pregnancy. So what I didn't say about my first postpartum is, I remember there was one day I was washing Muthoni, and Muthoni really used to cry when she showers. And I remember shouting at her so hard and asking her, what is wrong with you? Is it so bad for you? What is wrong? Is it so bad? Is it so bad? And I was crying and I'm asking, is it so bad for you? And then after that, I remember sitting down and crying and telling myself, you cannot get into postpartum depression. You can't afford it. You can't do it.
Are you talking to your husband? Are you telling him?
The first one, no. The second one also, I think I didn't tell him for quite a while. Because those are not things you go tell people.
This is your husband.
I know, but it's still not.
What makes you not tell? Is it fear, shame?
Yeah, there's that. And then I think also at that point our marriage was struggling a bit. But even with that, there's just shame. Even it took a very long time to tell my mother.
Your own mom?
Yeah. It took a very, very long time to tell her. So even with the first one, I might have told him because I think I sat down, I told myself, you can't get into postpartum depression, and then I moved on. So now when the psychiatrist was asking me about my first one, I told him about that situation. And then he asked me, so how come this time you've not been able to tell your mind? And then I asked myself, but how come this time I've not been able to tell my mind? Anyway, so he told me, it looks like you're getting into postpartum psychosis. I'm going to give you medication. If in 2 weeks you're not better, we'd have to admit you for your own safety and for the safety of your family. I'm like, okay, fine. I go home with the prescription. I tell myself, God, I don't want to take medication because of all the things that I see online about medication and trying to get out of it and etc, etc. So I didn't take medication. But in hindsight, so that somebody doesn't make the same
mistake,
make the same decision. I don't know whether it was a mistake. Like, I don't want somebody to make the decision saying, Mama Muthoni also didn't. This was what I felt was best for me at the time. But I always wonder, if I took medication, would I have been completely healed earlier? Because it took me a long while, like almost 2 years
to get
out of depression. Yeah. So I always wonder, what if I took medication? Maybe it would have been 6 months to a year. Anyway, I decided not to take medication. That's the day I went and told my husband. I think. I don't know if I told him earlier, but I remember we had a conversation after that. I told him, this is what is going on. This is what the doctor has said. He's giving me 2 weeks. If not, I'll be admitted into the psych ward. He was like, okay. So then now we got into trying to get my symptoms to go. The symptoms of it won't be so bad if I did ABCD. And now what we did at that time, some of the things we did were not very conventional. I don't think it's very good to speak about them online in case somebody chooses. But I started sleeping very early. So my husband would come home and I'd sleep at 7. So immediately after we do shower time with the babies, Muthoni has eaten, I've breastfed the other one, I get into bed at 7. I sleep. When my son wakes up at 10, I wake up to pump and eat. I'd eat at 10 because of postpartum hunger. So I'd eat.
This postpartum hunger.
Like people feel very hungry. you feel a hunger that doesn't even make sense, like you're ever wanting to eat. So most times I'd eat at 6 and then sometimes also at 10. So eat, pump, then go back to sleep. And within a week, actually, I'd stopped feeling the symptoms. The anger didn't go away. I still had a lot of rage. Like my nanny, oh, God bless her, because she's still with me. Like I don't even know how she dealt with me.
Wow.
Because it would be something small. Imagine nafanya nini hapa. Mbona ijapanguzwa? And I go off on a tandem over nonsense. But I was so angry. I had so much
anger.
Yeah. I was so angry. I was so like I had all these other symptoms. But now when my symptoms of wanting to harm my children went away, I mean, siniko sawa. Hey, I'm not wanting to kill myself. I'm not wanting to kill my children. We are good to go. So that was 2019 now when I had my child. The whole of 2019 I was okay. 2020, COVID came. 2020, like I said, 2019 my marriage was not so good. 2019 again we continued with nonsensical fights. Again I was angry. 2020, me I told my husband, by then bro, I'm done. Kudos. Go your way, I go my way. I started looking for a house. In fact, I started looking for a house in Nakuru. I looked for a house because I told him to move. He refused. He said, yeah, endi. So mimi nikajamba kama wewe ndi mecha nikuache mimi niende. Siwezi kaa. Nikaanza kutafuta nyumba. Then I don't know what I told myself, oh, there's a lady called Auntie Njoki. So 2019 when I was having issues with my marriage, there's a lady who my heart kept telling me, speak to Wambui. So I called Wambui. Maybe they really believe in God speaking to you. Wambui was not my friend, or is not my friend. I'd met her when she used to come and showcase her items at Kula Kula Festival and Chill and Grill. We'd had very little interaction, nothing personal. But I kept feeling like she's a good resource for my marriage. I don't know why I kept feeling that. So 2019, I called her. I told her, Kimi, I'm struggling in my marriage. Remember, this is not a friend. Then she tells me, do this, go and speak to my mother-in-law. Me, when I have issues, I speak to my mother-in-law. She's a very good resource. So I went. She's called Auntie Njoki. I went to Auntie Njoki. Auntie Njoki tried to convince me to start doing a certain book called Wisdom for Mothers. But I was so angry at that point. I couldn't. Then she introduced me to a lady who lived in my estate. God rest her soul. She passed away last year.
Sorry.
To do it for me because she was closer. I didn't feel like I wanted to, because I told her, me, I don't want to stay in this marriage. So why am I doing a book about marriage? And she kept insisting, this book is not about marriage. This book will help you be a better you and be a better mother. The chapter for marriage out of 8 chapters is only 1. So even if you don't want to do that one, we don't have to do that one. We can do the other chapters of this Bible study. So me that year I refused. And then 2019, I kept thinking about it. But I also realized I also had postpartum anxiety. I couldn't leave my house. It was stressful for me to leave my house. Like each time I thought about leaving, I'd break down, I'd cry, I'd become even more angry. So even going to my neighbor for the class, for the Bible study, I used to feel was too much for me. So I never did the book. So 2020, I remembered. I was like, by the way, Auntie Njoki told me to do this book for myself, and I'm feeling I'm still feeling angry. So I called Auntie Njoki. I'm like, Auntie Njoki, by the way, me, I'm leaving my marriage. I know you told me not to leave before I do the book. Me, I'm leaving my marriage. I'm already looking for a house, but I've decided I want to do this book. So I got a few ladies together. We started doing Wisdom for Mothers. Before that, I'd started therapy. I don't remember why I decided to start therapy, but I started therapy. And then during therapy, also something else that really stood out for me. Muthoni was very clingy. And my nanny has been with us since Muthoni was 9. And in the tier of favorite people, it was always the nanny, the dad, and then me. Imagine I was okay with it. Later is when I realized, oh, but then mtoto anaweza kupenda more now with my son. But my nanny is very good. So for me, it was a good problem to have. But sometime in July, August of 2020, I couldn't even go to the toilet. Like Muthoni was like, tagging. So when I spoke to when I spoke to my therapist, she asked me what's going on around. Then at that point, we realized I'm angry. So my outbursts are really a lot. Like I would really have really bad outbursts. But I told her, but I'm not shouting at Muthoni. But she was like, yeah, but she's experiencing you. She's watching you.
She's observing.
Yeah. And with all that, as she's experiencing your outburst with other people, you're causing her to feel insecure. And because she's insecure, that's why she's not letting go of you at all. Because she feels she needs to be around you for her to feel secure. So now I had to work on my anger. I had to work on my anger towards life, because even my nannies, even with my outbursts, it was really not about them. So now with therapy, I started realizing, okay, so Muthoni now is going through all this because of who I am. So I need to change myself for her. All this time, I'm not even doing therapy for my marriage. I'm not already doing it to stay in my marriage. I want to leave. And another thing also that helped me survive, actually, I've remembered, is 2019 to 2020, I used to pump about 1.2 liters of milk a day. And it was one of those things that I started doing just because. And then I started donating to a children's home. And then I used to breastfeed my nephew.
Yeah.
So he'd come, I breastfeed him for a few days, and then they go home with milk for the week or 2 weeks. And it really used to give me a lot of satisfaction, and it used to make me feel fulfilled that I was doing something to help people. So by the end of that year, 2019 into 2020, I'd fed about 13 or 14 babies. Wow. And I was so proud of that. Wow. I felt very proud of that because I felt that, one, I didn't kill my babies, but minus not killing my babies, I gave a lease of hope and life to other children who would not have ordinarily been able to. Anyway, so with therapy, I started therapy, and one of the things my therapist told me now is, don't leave now. You're not emotionally in a space to be able to handle leaving your marriage. She told me, I'm not telling you not to leave, but you have to live at the point where emotionally and mentally you're strong. So I was like, sawa, if that is happening, acha basi pia nifanye wisdom for mothers. So nikaanza kufanya wisdom for mothers. I continued with therapy. And with that, I found God. And in finding God, I found that I was seeking validation from people who hurt me. I was seeking validation from my husband. I was seeking validation from him about things that he did not cause hurt for. So I'm very wounded, and I'm imagining he will feel this wound, but he does not have the capacity to, because it is not his wound.
Powerful.
And because he has no capacity to, then I can never be satisfied.
Yes.
And I am demanding and demanding and demanding and wanting and wanting and wanting. And no matter how much he pours, it can never be enough. Because it is not his wound. It is my wound. Because even the person who caused the wound, or the things that caused the wound, cannot feel me. Because the only thing that can fill that hole is God. And once I seek validation from God, then I'm validated. Because I am his child. And once he validates me, nobody can remove that validation apart from me. And that was just the biggest transformation of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask. So you are seeking God. You have this recommendation by Auntie Njoki, and now you have to do the self-work. And I keep telling people, I think your self-work is not the easiest. I was just telling one of the person I hosted earlier that my first session in therapy was like the hardest. It forces you to deal with things you don't want to deal with. Because it's everyone's fault apart from me. It's your problem, not my problem. So you want to deal with things, but you don't want to admit that I played a role in these things. You don't want to admit I have a role. Like, how were your first days realizing that I need a lot of self-work?
I think the first days of therapy for me were very therapeutic. Being able to pour out my life's heart
Yes.
into somebody who's not judging me,
Good.
into somebody who's not trying to fix me, were very powerful. But also realizing that I had given too much power to other people,
Yes.
and given them a pedestal that they did not deserve, and that pedestal only belongs to God, was also very hard. Because now trying to remove someone from here and saying, fine, this is your relation to me, this is who you are to me, this is how much I love you, used to love you, this is etc. And saying, no, you don't belong there, you belong here, this is the only place for God. And then also going through the seeking of God and trying to now surrender. I think surrender is the hardest part of being a Christian. Surrendering to God and putting him there and saying, fine, ni wewe, hakuna mtu mwingine hapo, hakuna kitu ingine, ni wewe. It's painful. Like that process was very painful. And trying to dig and trying to figure out what caused all this, the spiraling of things. And during all these hard moments is when I realized the thing that happened in 2014, and maybe other things in my life that had been said to me, but the thing of 2014 is what made me completely feel like you're worthless. You and a pig, you're the same thing. Like you're trash. So going through that and realizing, Wangeshi, you have low self-esteem. Me, who is called Shishi Fabulous. Me, I believe I'm ugly. I could not go online, Lynn. I could not go online without makeup or filters. I never used to show my face. You're ugly. You don't deserve for anybody to see you. Me, who looks like this, but they think I'm very beautiful.
No, you are not. You think you are
I
very,
believe I'm very
no,
beautiful.
you are very beautiful.
Yeah, I believe I'm a very beautiful person.
Yes.
But coming to the realization that I say I think I'm beautiful, but I feel that I am not, that was painful. Me realizing that I gave the power of chill and grill to somebody else, and I gave out my event and it fell because I did not believe in myself. Me realizing that this business failed because you did not believe in yourself. Fine, all these things have happened. But what did I do with the thing happening? I chose to not believe in myself. I chose to believe the narrative that somebody else had put in my life instead of believing the narrative of God.
Oh.
Because God, there's no way I can open in the Bible and God tells me that you're useless.
And I feel like we do that a lot.
There's no place that God tells you you are nothing. There's no place that you'll open in the Bible and God tells you you will amount to nothing. Because those are things that were said to me. You will amount to nothing. Everybody around you is better than you. People who are 10, 15 years, I've been told people who are 15 years younger than you will come and pass you in life because you're nothing. There's no way you can be successful. You do not deserve to be successful. Not deserve, but I used to be told you can't be. And because I believed this person who kept telling me that, then when the Mtumba business became successful, you don't deserve it. Why are you being successful? Wangeshi, you don't deserve it. Close. When I start looking for house helps for people and I cannot meet demand, that is success. What else does a business person want? To not be able to meet demand. I closed down because Wangeshi, you're not supposed to be successful. You cannot be. You're trash. Everybody else is better than you. And I believed it. So in as much as somebody else told me and somebody else did ABCD, it was my responsibility to not believe. It was my responsibility to shut it out and say, Wangeshi, but you can. But you are capable. You are enough. But I didn't feel enough. So the realization that I had low self-esteem, I think, was just the worst part for me. It really shattered. It broke my heart so much. And now having to work on it and every day tell myself you are enough. Every day tell myself, Wangeshi, you're doing a good job. As in affirming, because I cannot even now ask my husband to affirm me. I mean, it's nice and beautiful for him to affirm me. But if I don't affirm myself,
why do you expect him to affirm
even
you?
If he does,
it won't mean
anything. Because even if I look like this and you come and tell me I look beautiful, I'll tell you, okay, sure. Because I don't feel it in my heart. So it doesn't matter even if the 7 people, 10 people around you tell you, if you do not believe in yourself, nobody can help you. Nobody can make you believe It has to come from within you. And also realizing that happiness is an inside job. I know that's one of those things that people are told about marriage, and it looks cliche, but it actually is. It's nobody else's job to make you happy.
There you go.
It's nobody else's. Like now my husband amkange kila siku afikiria leo nitafanya nje wangesha furahi. It's not his job. It's my job to ensure that I am happy and that I am satisfied within myself. And now realizing all those things actually saved my marriage because we are still together.
Wow.
Yeah.
How is marriage life?
Hard. Kai. Marriage is hard. I think relationships are just generally hard. Not marriage, but if me and you were to be good friends, it's hard. You have to keep in touch. You have to think about your feelings.
Yes.
Like, I think the only relationship that is not hard is childhood, child to parent. So anything that is outside of you, you have to put in work. And the putting in of work can seem hard, depending now on how things are in the marriage. But I think, I have a marriage ministry, by the way, now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I do. It's called Deborah's Arising. It's a women marriage ministry. And I just believe anything and everything is possible with God. Like, you just need to put God in the center. And if you're carrying a big burden in your marriage and you feel it's too hard, just pour it on God. Kwani kazi yake ni? Sini kukubebea.
Yes.
Yeah, kazi ya
Bring
God
your burdens.
akubebe hiyo burden.
Cast your burdens
exactly,
unto me. Yes.
me. Yeah. And when God carries this burden for you, it doesn't mean that marriage won't be hard. It just won't be as heavy. Just won't be as heavy. But when you put in your 100% and you do it unto God, not unto this human being, because they're a human being, they will annoy you, they will upset you, wataacha socks, watakosa kukuambia you're beautiful, like they will always disappoint.
Yeah.
And even you will always disappoint them.
Yes.
But when you do your duties, and you love this person as to how God has commanded you as a wife, then the rest it's up to him and God. And if he does it according to what God has commanded him, to God, because you will always upset him, then it becomes easier. Not easy, but just easier.
Easier.
That the burden is not as heavy. There's a burden, but it's not as heavy.
Yeah.
Yes.
God, I think you're the first person who has spoken so authentically about marriage. How is marriage life? Hard.
It's hard.
I
always tell people it's a beautiful scam.
Yes.
It's a scam, but it's
beautiful.
beautiful.
It's worth it. Now, let me take you back to postpartum depression, because if there's anyone who comes highly recommended, I remember asking on my Insta stories, like, guys, I'm looking for someone to talk about postpartum, and it was just like, Muthoni. How do I know? Now, for example, as Lynn, knowing that you've been in it, how do I know this is postpartum depression for me? How do I know?
So there's something called baby blues that majority of women get. I think 80 or 90% of women get baby blues. And it's generally because of the hormonal changes that happen immediately after birth. Like the drop of hormones is very quick. So it comes with anger, with crying, with all these things. That is normal. But when you start having bad thoughts, like bad thoughts, even 1 week postpartum is not okay.
Yes.
Like the thoughts of it's not so bad, that can never be okay. Even if you're 3 days postpartum, that is not okay. Nobody should tell you to wait. Because I thank God for his mercies and grace. And even just the other day, I told you I'm opening a clinic, a center in Parklands. And thank you. As I was walking through there, and my son, actually it was yesterday, my son jumped through something. And I looked at him and I felt so blessed. Because this is the same child that I held and wanted to kill. This same, like my son is such a joy. And at that point, I felt so grateful to God for his mercies, because I'm not special. I'm not more special than the mother who killed her baby the other day. I'm not more special. She just didn't get the help she needed. She maybe just didn't know she needed help. I'm not more special. God was just merciful. That I saw the symptoms, I knew the symptoms, and I knew where to get help. So many people have shame. Who wants to kill their child? Are you even normal? No, you're not normal. You're not mentally okay at that point. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. You're not mentally okay at that point. So you feel shame because society might make you feel
like you're a murderer.
Yeah. But the thoughts are not who you are. And
the thoughts are not who you are.
The thoughts are not who you are.
It's just a stage.
It's a stage, but you must seek help. Because without help, you don't know what your mind can do. Because thank God the thoughts kept coming, and now when the thoughts got worse, because remember it started with with the putting the baby a bit in the water and coming out. It came with shaking. Like they kept progressing to the point where now I told myself, let me kill both my children and me. Those women don't wake up and kill their children. It happens slowly. Like the thought comes and comes, but they don't know where to go to say, I need help. I'm having these thoughts. It's shameful. But you're not your thoughts, and you need to have a place to... These days, there are so many places that you can get free therapy. And maybe even you're feeling bad, you can't go to your local dispensary, but try, just find a person. You can even come to my DM. I'm on Instagram, Mama Muthoni KE.
Yes.
On Facebook, The Mothership with Mama Muthoni. Just come and tell me, these are my thoughts. I'll try and find you a therapist. Because you're not your thoughts, and God is gracious. And yes, you can pray, and we pray, and it is see. But sometimes it's enough. I don't want to say it's not enough. But also God created all these support systems for a reason. So you shouldn't feel like a bad Christian because you need therapy. Having bad thoughts, anger, feeling anxious all the time, and especially after about 4 to 6 weeks. Having just bad thoughts, like feeling very bad about yourself, and feeling angry, feeling like things that are just very, very negative.
Dark.
Yes, you definitely need help. But also in the postpartum period, sometimes women can get very angry because of the lack of sleep, or proper sleep. And sometimes I always tell moms, sleeping can solve so many of your problems. Getting support with sleep, because being tired, even you, right now, you're not in postpartum. Yes. Even him, that's a man. He's not in postpartum. Lakini kama amechoka. Umechoka, you will snap like that. You will be angry. It's just how our bodies are built. Now add you have a human being who's reliant on you 24 hours a day, and then you're hormonal because of breastfeeding, and
then your body is going through a lot of changes. You have the weight gain.
You have so many things. Sleep can solve so many of your problems. So try your best to sleep, and if you're still feeling ukiata ukijishuku kidogo hivi, afadhali uende hospitali uambe uko sawa, kushinda you're going through all these things for so long and you're not telling anybody. So like me now, I said my postpartum depression lasted 2 to 3 years. It's a very long time of being depressed and not being able to do anything, and I'm not selling things, I'm not doing anything. And then now in 2020 is when I started Mama Muthoni Foods, and then I went to school. I didn't talk about that. 2019, my husband realized I'm spending a lot of time supporting mothers. And still I was bado nauza sauce, lakini siuzi.
Yes.
Najiambia nauza, but hakuna biashara nafanya. So he started telling me, but you're spending too much time supporting these women and responding to them online. Unataka nini na hii kitu? So I'm like, I don't know. So in the end of that year of 2019, he told me, by the way, you know what you'll do? You'll go to school. Look for a course. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do breastfeeding. So in the end, he convinced me I did a breastfeeding course. He paid for the college in the US. So I did that 2019, graduated August 2020 on my birthday. Yeah. And then now when I started the Mama Muthoni Foods and doing consultations for breastfeeding, my therapist was so supportive. So one of the things she knew used to overwhelm me is too much work. So when I'm getting successful, I shut down. So she told me, anytime you feel like the work is too much and you want to go online and tell people I'm not doing it anymore, message me, we book an appointment. And that's what we did. Because so many times I used to feel like that. I used to feel like, Wangesh, you can't be successful. Why would you be successful? And then I text her and we have a conversation. And like that, I started realizing, it's the things I was told in my teenagehood. It's the things I was told in my 20s that are affecting me and I can't be successful. Even last year, I wrote a book.
This one here.
Yes.
Little Foodies.
Yes, Little Foodies.
This is so beautiful.
Thank you.
Damn, it's rich.
Sana. I poured my life. I poured everything into this book.
This is good. It's showing on your screen, guys. So don't worry about me holding. It's showing on your screen.
Yeah.
This is the Little Foodies. The infant and toddler feeding Bible that feeds the whole family. I love it.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
So I wanted to write a cookbook from 2012.
Yeah.
But I'm not good enough. How do you write a book? So when I wrote this book, it's really triggered me a lot. And I wrote the book, I published it, it's a beautiful book, it has so much, it's an amazing book. But now I started struggling again, like not feeling good enough. And I'm like, sinilisha deal na hizi vitu, nini bado na deal nazo saizi. So kumbe my therapist is telling me, it's because now I have achieved. I have achieved something I've always wanted to achieve. And because I have achieved something I've always wanted to achieve, it's triggering by feelings of, you're not good enough. So now it's something I'm battling, that I am successful because I have published a book that I've always wanted to publish, but one of the people who are most important in my life has never acknowledged.
Oh.
Has never acknowledged, has never said anything, has never even said good job, has never. And I sent them the book, they never acknowledged. So the feeling of the affirmation that I'm still looking for that is still not coming has been really triggering to me. Like it's been almost a year with the book. But yeah, it's the feelings of imposter syndrome. That's what we call it now. It's. I feel like, I don't know, I hope it's not lifelong, but it's something that every time you have to battle. So like now with the clinic, I am struggling emotionally, because again, the clinic is something I wanted to open. So I started my year knowing I'm not opening a center this year.
Yes.
I'll open a small studio, and next year I'll think about opening a center. And then as I'm looking for a studio with my friend, I see this open space. Like, in fact, we had closed for the day. I see this space. I walk in. Like, we drive in. And she's like, how did you even see this place? It's right opposite Empisha. I've done some work with Empisha for lactation.
Yes.
I've passed that road 5 times a week. I've never seen that place. It's never registered in my mind.
Yes.
So I enter. It's empty. I see the house. It's beautiful. 3 times my budget. I'm like, I can't afford it. And anyway, mi sikuwa nifungue center this year. So mi nikaenda home. I told my husband, oh, it's beautiful. Me, I sleep. The next morning, I tell my husband, by then, I want that space. Because it's so perfect. It's right opposite a hospital. It's like
strategically.
It's perfect. It's everything. You know, I've dreamt about my center for years. It's everything I had wanted that center to be. So I told my husband I want it. He's like, that how are we going to afford it? I told him, sijali. We left it. I went and told God, I want this center. I want this space. Show me. So number 1 is finding the place that I was not even looking for. Then as I'm praying, I tell God, I want this space. Do you know, God just revealed to me a program that I'm actually launching in July that should enable me to pay for this space. Then I went and saw the landlord. I told the landlord, I don't have money. Just give me some time. I'll pay in June. He's like, fine, you come next month.
Wow.
Come next month, we talk.
Just
that
like
was 2 months. Yeah. I told him, I'll come in. I'll start in June. So 2 months. Then now last month, where we in May, April, he tells me, hey, but now you have to pay because there's so much demand for the space. But he gave me 2 months. He waited for 2 months. It was 3. I told him to wait for me 3 months. He gave me 2 months. By that time, there's money that I'd been waiting for like a year and a half. It came through the week I was supposed to pay the month rent and deposit. Tell me that's not God.
It's God.
So I pay the month, the rent and the deposit. I've started building. And now I'm just believing God that everything is just going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. And in as much as I'm feeling not enough, and I'm feeling, because I was told I won't be successful, that I won't be successful, but I believe I will be, because God is the writer of my destiny.
God.
Yeah, not anybody else, not a human being, not not anybody.
Not anybody.
Yeah, and even also when my mom came to see the space, she was so excited about it. And my mom is one of those, kwanza alikuwa anauliza, so ukikosa kulipa rent nani atakuwa?
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? Utafunga kwani wewe ni wa kwanza kufunga biashara?
No.
Hapana.
No.
Utafunga tu utoe vitu.
Yeah, na
tuendelee na maisha.
Yes.
You take it. Take it. The worst thing that can happen, utashindwa kulipa.
Yes.
And we'll work on it when that time comes. You take it. We see we go.
Yeah.
Trying. So, yeah, and my husband is also very supportive.
Yes.
And I really thank God. Yeah, I really thank God.
Talking of your husband, do the men in our lives understand postpartum depression? And what can we do?
Wow, did my husband understand? I don't think he really understood. I think he didn't understand depression per se, but when I told him of the thoughts of killing our children and myself, it shocked him. I think it really shocked him. And he felt he had to act fast. So he really did act very quickly. Yeah, like he really had to completely change and completely now, like even if he was supportive, now he had to give 500% support and completely step in to ensure the survival of his family.
Yeah. I think maybe in your program you can maybe come up with something where there's men so that they also get to understand postpartum
depression,
so they don't look at a woman behaving funny and they are like, ni kisirani sasa. I just think there is not much for them to go with matters postpartum depression.
One of the things that I try and do, especially when I'm doing childbirth education or when I go into a home and there's a partner or a husband,
Yes.
I always talk to the husband and they tell them, women need a lot of support in the postpartum period. Society makes us believe that a pregnant woman needs support. I wish we could even ignore the pregnant woman and give all that attention and support
After she
to the
gives
new
birth.
mother. Because a pregnant mother, you're tired, sawa, maybe you have pelvic fluid, sawa, but the amount of stress and emotional and physical turmoil a woman goes through in the postpartum period
It's crazy.
is so much, and men are not prepared because in their mind they know I need to be gracious to my wife who's pregnant.
Yes.
And even my husband was like, sure, he was super gracious, but after mtu amezaa, I think they imagine you snap back. You don't. In fact, with the first child, the wife you married never comes back.
Oh.
You completely change. You're a completely new person, but they're not prepared. So this also brings a lot of strife in marriages, and a lot of people start thinking that it's only my marriage that is struggling. Why do most marriages fail in the first 2 or 3 years? It's all these changes that come with it that we are not prepared for.
Yeah.
So you're struggling in your marriage thinking you're alone. I'm struggling in my marriage thinking I'm alone. The next person is struggling in their marriage thinking they're alone because on Instagram, couple girls.
You know?
But we are all struggling. We are all not sleeping enough. So everybody is angry. We are all like, everybody is on high air, is high strung. That's the word. Yeah. Everybody is high strung. So you're colliding, but you're not realizing it's just because of the new dynamics and the hormones and the being tired, and it's a phase. You just need to ride the phase and bring God into it. You're all told he's the third chord.
Yes.
Msimwache nje. You bring God into it. If you need a therapist, bring a therapist to it, and a lot of grace and patience. And then you're able to pass through that phase. And by the second baby, you already know the drill. Mtoto atakuja, tutafight. Lakini sasa tutafight sana because I'm more gracious, you're more gracious.
Yes.
And we pass through that stage. Kids are not small forever. It's just 2 years.
And
the first 2 years are hard. First 2 years, we are nasonga. So maybe it's 5 years of this, especially if you're having your babies together, then it passes.
Yeah. Then you go back happy state.
But I always try and tell the husbands,
Yes.
it is very possible that your wife will be unreasonable. It is very possible that because of tiredness, please be very gracious to her. And I tell the wife, when you need help, speak. Men don't read minds. Nobody reads minds.
Hey, by the way, I've noticed, start speaking.
Yeah.
Even
If
when
you
I've
need
come
things,
out of that stage of thinking someone knows. So now I just speak.
nothing is obvious.
Nothing
For
is
example,
obvious.
nimenyonyesha mtoto. It is obvious the child should be burped. Mtoto ameamka asubuhi. It is obvious after I breastfeed, child needs to be burped and then changed. It is obvious common sense, but it's not obvious to him. So you tell him, hi, I've just finished breastfeeding.
Could you please?
Yeah. Speak. Use your words.
Yeah.
Speak. But if you keep assuming, you know in your mind you're getting upset, then you're getting upset because you're not getting support. Him is wondering, nini mbaya na huyu? You're fighting. And it's fighting over nonsense because it can simply be saved by a simple conversation of, I need assistance with, I need support with,
Yeah, and
I need you to
communicate.
And even with your friends, sometimes people say, oh, I lost my friends after birth. But I always tell women, you're the one who changed the dynamics, especially first-time moms. Because if you're the first one to get married and have a child in your friend circle, you are the one who changed the rules of the game. Friday mlikuwa mnaamka, Friday usiku mnaenda kahawa, ama mnaenda disco, Saturday mnalala the whole day, ama mna shop. Those were the rules of engagement. Now you're imagining Friday badala tu kwenda disco ama kwenda for their coffee, who wants to come and sit and do diapers? Nobody will tell themselves, especially if they don't have children. You've changed the dynamic. So it's you to tell them, hi, I need assistance. Can someone please come?
That is beautiful. Yes. Looking back, the Mama Muthoni who was told, you are nothing, you can't do this, all these things, the one who has, fought all this battle. Now, what do you say to yourself? Who are you?
I'm enough. Yeah.
Period.
Like, I wish I believed that. I wish I knew that. I wish... Like, I feel like I've wasted... So I have a video on my YouTube channel.
Yes.
The Mothership with Mama Muthoni.
Yeah.
And I speak about all this in detail, actually. I have like a 4-part video.
Yes. Oh, by the guys, go, yes. Yeah. Go watch that.
Of how I wasted 7 years of my life. So I wish the 25-year-old Wangeshi knew I wish the 21-year-old Wangeshi knew that you are enough. You don't need validation from anybody. Even if someone is telling you you're not enough, you are enough. You're beautiful. And you're enough. You don't need anything outside of you. Only God. Only God. Because human beings will always disappoint you. It doesn't matter how much this person loves you. They're a human being. I love my children to death. I will disappoint them. And one thing that I'm really praying, even yesterday I wrote on my Instagram. My Instagram is Mama Muthoni KE. I wrote on my Instagram that I hope I am able to pour into my children enough like confidence in themselves and God, that even when I disappoint them, they don't shake. Even when sometimes maybe out of anger I will say something inappropriate, they don't shake. Because I have poured enough into them in their young years that they know they are enough. They are confident within themselves, and they know that God comes even before mom. Yeah,
I wanted to ask you that, but you said they're enough.
They are enough.
They're enough.
Yeah.
That's what you would want them to
I'd want, because I feel like I've wasted so much of my life. Like, and people always tell me it's not wasting, that I've learned, and even by us learning, there's this thing in the Bible that to him whom much is given, much is expected. And sometimes I really used to get angry at God, because I used to feel like once I started the mothership, because I started it in 2017, I felt very unsupported in my postpartum. I felt very unprepared. I felt slapped into motherhood. And because motherhood slapped me, I started talking about these things that I was going through, and then I realized there were many other people that were going through it. But I used to feel very upset at God, because I feel that once I got this platform, I feel like so many bad things have happened in my life. I've gotten postpartum depression. I've struggled with my pelvic floor. I struggle with fertility. I've been struggling to get my third born for about 3 or 4 years. I struggled to get my second born. Like, I feel like since God has given me that thing, there's been so many things that sometimes I just feel like shutting it off. So then my life can be easy. Because I mean, if you're not giving me responsibility to speak about you, God, if you're not giving me the responsibility to share my testimony, then if I have no responsibility, then I will not go through hardships so that I have a testimony.
Can I tell you? Totally relate. There are times I've said, I want to be done with this platform.
It's a lot.
I think like since I came in, Lynn this, Lynn that, and I'm one person who just can't deal with that part of life. And I'm like, what am I doing? I could easily just
shut down and live a quiet, simple life.
And get a nice piece of land somewhere and just live a quiet life. But then you're like, I totally relate.
Yeah, because now you have to impact, not you have to, like, things just usually come to me and then I have to talk about it. I don't want to say I have to, because it's not that I think today, what testimony will I give? They just come. The things just come to me, but I also feel like now God puts me through the fire.
Yes.
Fire. And then I'm a diamond, and then I have to come and say, look what God has done.
Like I'm giving a testimony of 5 years ago. Now I'll give another one for 5 years ago. I think it's good. It's a sign of relief that I found someone who feels that.
The same.
Because I would beat myself up. I would be like, do you mean you want to do away with this platform?
It's just a lot. It's a heavy burden. And one of the burdens that God has given me is also women from the underprivileged communities who cannot afford my services. My services are not expensive, but there are women who really cannot afford my services. And for them, I'm having a baby shower. I told you about it.
Talk to us.
So I'm having a baby shower called the Village Baby Shower. It's on the 3rd of June. So it's at Sitamburuburu.
Yes.
It's a free event. We'll be having free medical care. Jacaranda Hospital is our hospital partner. They'll be having checks. So we'll check your sugar, your pressure, make sure the baby is okay. We're having free ultrasounds on the day.
Yes.
Then we'll go through just a normal baby shower, fun and games, photographs, and then we'll gift you the moms who are coming at the end with some clothes. So we're also having an appeal to everybody to give clothes. Pre-loved, nice clothes, please. Not torn clothes, like things that you could still give your babies, but they have outgrown. So we're still asking for donations for clothes, for dry foods, and you can give your donations. You can DM me at the Mothership KE, and we can also share a number here, right?
Please feel free.
Okay, so the number is 0115 717474 or 0791 924 735.
Yes.
So you can channel your donations to us through that. We are also taking cash donations in case you'd like to give in cash. So the till number is 5375159 for any cash donations that you'd like to give.
Yeah.
But we are urging for any mom who is in need, please only come if you're in need. You can come on the day. It's completely free, and we're really hoping to bless you with a good time, medical care, and also a small gift for you to take home.
Yeah.
We'll have lactation consultants on the day to teach you. We'll have a nutritionist. We'll have doctors, gyners, and a midwife who will also going to be talking to the moms on the day. It's going to be a really amazing event.
Yes.
And we are still also looking for sponsors. So if you are an unga company, an oil company, like anything that you feel would be a dry good or diapers, wipes, things like that. Yeah, we really appreciate.
Thank you for that.
So that's also a burden that I have.
Yes.
I've done something small in Mombasa, something small in Kisumu.
That's not a burden. That's a blessing. That's a blessing that you have.
Okay.
It's not a burden.
It's not a burden.
It's not a burden. Guys, give out Pampers.
Yes.
Give out those nice clothes that you don't, those ones that you would want your child to wear. Those dry foods, all those things, give out. If people want to drop them now, is there a physical location?
Yes, there's a physical location.
Yes.
So we have a physical location in Parklands, but I think the best thing is to call.
Yes.
But we have a physical location in Parklands, in Maruroi,
Yes.
in town, in Buruburu, Ngong Road. Where else?
That's
we have quite a number of drop-off points that you can drop off.
Yes, I'm gonna put up the details also on our community. I will not be in the country, but I would have loved to come. But because I know there are more, I'll come for the next ones. But I'll give my personal.
I really believe it will be such a blessing to these moms. It's going to be such a blessing to them.
Especially people who don't know what a baby shower is.
Yeah.
They've never experienced the card. Is there a photography?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So I wanted to do it as a normal event, and then I thought, I think a baby shower would be beautiful because majority of them don't even have the opportunity to have the beautiful baby showers that most of us are blessed with. And I really want them to feel blessed and feel God's love.
Yeah. All the best in your clinic, all the best in your wins. I love that now you can look your wins in the face and call them wins.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Especially people who suffer with imposter syndrome, like myself. Feel like you're like my sister from another place. I suffer from so many things. Imposter syndrome, you don't think you're even doing. People tell you good job, Lynn, and you're like,
but you don't believe it. I also brought you a few gifts of my products.
Kid you me?
Yeah.
Me, I gotta show off and show out, guys. I know we have to go, but let me just enjoy my, this is nice. Look at you. Never fear wins, my people. This is Mama,
Mama Bora. This is an
familiar
unga.
with. This I'm familiar with.
So this is an unga
Lishe
for
Bora.
Lishe Bora is for children who are not gaining weight very well, or people who have a sick adult. It's very good for appetite and weight gain.
This I know where to take this.
Yeah.
I know who to.
And then Mama Bora is good for women who are pregnant, women who are breastfeeding.
Yeah.
It basically supports a woman because it also has like a avocado seed flour which supports your pelvic floor.
Yes.
It has beetroot which supports iron. So even sometimes children take this, but I developed it for women. It's also very high in calcium to support osteoporosis and support. So if you have osteoporosis because of menopause, after giving birth, if your baby has issues with calcium, it's very good.
Yeah.
And then I have the nut butters.
Okay, sasa mimi nitakula gani? Mtoto bora.
Unaweza kula Mama Bora. Actually, all of them. Me in my home, we take all of them.
All of them,
yeah,
yes. It doesn't have
to
to be because you have those. And then we have my
peanut
people.
butter.
Come here.
But then my peanut butter is very good.
Yeah.
All natural, no preservatives, no additives.
Watu wangu munaenda na
Almond butter.
Muga, there's nothing here for you. Scholar, there's nothing here for you. I'm sorry. Almond butter
and cashew
this
butter.
Is cashew butter.
So cashew butter and almond butter are like peanut butter but made from cashews or almonds.
I've never
These are also very good for weight gain.
Yes.
Almond, peanut and cashews are very, very good for weight gain in babies. And then if you're an adult trying to lose weight, they keep you fuller for longer.
I've never received this much gift in my life. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mama Muthoni.
Thank you for having me. Asante.
I know it's long overdue, but I also feel like there's a conversation coming. We've always envisioned having a live event. So maybe around August, when my anxiety level
just go down.
Imeenda chini.
And just to finish, I think what I'd like to tell people is sometimes people feel like when you talk about your wins, you're bragging, but God blesses you for a reason. And when you have a testimony, you need to shout it out so that people can see God's goodness. The testimony is not about you. So for me, my testimony is not that I am out of depression. My testimony is that God did it in my life and saw me out of depression. My testimony is not that I wrote a book and I am now a world-renowned. Oh, I'm getting an award, by the way.
Congratulations.
I'm getting an international award next weekend.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So the testimony is not that I am a award-winning cookbook author. The testimony is that God helped me write the book and helped me get out of imposter syndrome.
Yes.
The testimony is not that I am opening a center, as in CT, nafungua Mothership Village Center. No, it is God has enabled me to see the space. God has enabled me to find the funds. It is all about God. So when God puts a testimony in your life, you need to talk about it so that people can see God's goodness.
Yes. We have a famous saying right now from our previous guest, Bonnie. Hatutanyamazia shida na tunyamazie ushuhuda.
Exactly.
My people, I gotta go. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I know they know where to find you. Your social handles have been on the screen.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming. And I can't wait for our live event. Honestly, I want to sit down there with a group of people so that you can talk to them and you can inspire them, because you've blessed my heart. And you've made me realize that, we all have struggles, but it's how we come out of them that matters. I am so proud of you. By all means, these are wins. I don't know anyone with this many products out there, and knowing that your products are also on the shelves makes me really happy, And congratulations on this beautiful book.
Award. International award-winning book.
Sita nyamazia ushuhuda. Guys, thank you so much. You've been listening to our award-winning author of Little Foodies, the infant and toddler feeding Bible that feeds the whole family. She is also behind these wonderful products that you are seeing here on the screen. Go get them, guys, if you're in a position to. And just a polite reminder, there is a baby shower for people, those underprivileged people who would really use this moment. And if you are able to donate in kind, if you are able to drop those, clothes that you don't, use anymore, but they are still in good condition, there is also a pay bill number here on the screen. Contact details of how you are able to get hold of her, they are here on the screen. And right here are her social media handles that you're able to connect, and you're very active on Instagram, which is really easy for my people. You can go, and don't forget, she has a YouTube channel. We have not talked extensively about the amazing work this woman does, but on her YouTube channel, you're able to find different segments on different life topics. Hata tujaguzia breastfeeding, hatujaguzia nutrition. Ama, you want to come back for a different episode? Please. I feel like let's do another episode so that nisiwafinyilie sana. So do me a favor. On the comment section, let me know what other questions or what other key areas do you think Mama Muthoni can touch on, so that when we come for part 2 of this conversation, she's able to handle all that collectively, right? Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, my people. I truly appreciate you. May God bless you. Oh, and not forgetting, I gotta pay bills, people, not forgetting our beautiful partners at King's Developers. I love the feedback that I'm getting on my email, but remember, they also have their own email here that you can also, do the inquiries. I love that you guys, you are giving me very beautiful feedback about them. I would hate to sit here and advertise a scam, honestly. So I'm loving the beautiful feedback you're giving me about King's Developers. And I say in this show, hakuna pressure. If you want to get yourself a house, or you want to get your loved one an apartment, check them out. They have Boma, they have King Sapphire, wako mpaka uko Nakuru, and they have Apollo. God, these people have so many things. Apollo, Vintage, Sifa Towers, Prism Towers. Check them out and let me know. Sawa sawa. My name is Lynn Ngugi. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m.